Good morning, children. Today we will discuss the first phase of the Indian national movement. The first phase of the Indian national movement, 1885 to 1907. It is also called the phase of the early nationalists. 1885 to 1907. So last class we learned that in 1885 the Indian National Congress was founded by A.O. Hume, the first All India political party. And under this All India political party, the Indian national movement also started. And in 1907, there was a split in the Indian National Congress, a split between the early nationalists and the radical nationalists. So this is one period, 1885 to 1907. And this first phase of Indian national movement was dominated by those leaders who were mostly teachers, barristers, lawyers, and they were mostly educated in England. They had a very good relation with the British people. Their political approaches were moderate. Their political views were moderate. So they were called the moderate leaders. So the main beliefs of the early nationalists. The early nationalists believed in the British sense of justice. They believed that the British were honest and sincere. Therefore, they wanted to support the British rule. Another belief they had was the British people were there to solve the problem of Indians. So early nationalists always had great faith in the British sense of justice, in the British government. Therefore, the early nationalists did not want to confront the British government, the British rule. The early nationalists believed that the British rule had many benefits to India. For example, the British rule helped India to remove some of these social evils like abolition of sati, the removal of untouchability, the removal of child marriage. Such things could be removed because of the British rule. So that way, the early nationalists had a complete faith in the British sense of justice. The early nationalists believed that the British will grant home rule to Indians. So gradually, the British would hand over the power of governing India into the hands of Indians. That was the belief of the early nationalists. And early nationalists also believed that the main reason for the poverty of India was the economic and social backwardness of Indians. It's not that the British are responsible for the poverty of India, but actually because of the social and economic backwardness, India is economically poor. People of India are poor, and not because of the British rule. And lastly, the early nationalists believed in the constitutional methods. They wanted to achieve their goals using the constitutional means. So that way, the early nationalists were moderate. They were moderate in their political approaches. However, the early nationalists made several demands, and some of the demands are following. The demand early nationalists made was constitutional reforms. Under the constitutional, the abolition of India Act, India Council Act 1892, and expansion, you can say here, of the Legislative Council and Legislative Assembly. I shall explain it. What this abolition of India Council Act and the expansion of Legislative Council and Assembly are. See, India Council Act gave a provision to the British Parliament to increase the number of members of the Legislative Council and Legislative Assemblies by nomination. That means the British Parliament could nominate some members to Legislative Council and to Legislative Assemblies. Naturally, if the British Parliament would nominate, then they would nominate the British people. And probably Indians would not be nominated to Legislative Council or Legislative Assemblies. Therefore, the early nationalists demanded that this had to be abolished. And instead of that, the Legislative Assemblies, Legislative Council should be expanded. That means more and more Indians should be the members of Legislative Council and members of Legislative Assemblies by election. So if election takes place, Indians will take part in election, and since Indians are here in our country, Indians will elect the Indian leaders to Legislative Assemblies and Legislative Council. So this was their demand. Then they demanded for the Swaraj. It did not mean the complete independence for them. It was self-government or self-government within the British Empire. Just like Canada and Australia had, India's first early nationalists demanded self-government within the British Empire. Again, they demanded for adequate representation of Indians in the Viceroy's Executive Council. Because this is a very, very important body, the executive body, executive council. All the policies that are made should be implemented by the executive council. So if Indians are in the executive council, they will certainly implement the policies that will help the Indians. So the early nationalists demanded that there should be more people in the legislative council of the Viceroy, so that the participation of Indians in the implementation of policies. So these are some of the constitutional reforms demanded by the early nationalists. The other demanded was reforms. Some of the economic reforms they demanded was reduction in the land revenue. See, the farmers were burdened with huge amount of land revenue, and since they had to give a huge amount of land revenue, very little was left with the farmers. So finally, farmers or peasants were dependent on the landlord and zamindars for the money, and they were exploited by the zamindars and the landlords. So the early nationalists demanded that there should be minimum of land revenue. Similarly, the reduction on army, reduction in expenditure on army. See, the British government was maintaining a large army, and India had to spend huge amount of money on maintaining army. So the early nationalists felt so that was wastage of resources, wastage of money. So they demanded that the expenditure on armies should be minimized, reduced, and the amount that is saved should be utilized for social and other developmental works like education, health centers. So that money has to be saved and developmental activities should be started. So that was their demand. Then development of banking facilities. Irrigation facilities, health facilities. They demanded that there should be more banking facilities, more health facilities, more irrigation facilities. Again. Then they demanded that there should be availability of cheap credit. Farmers could get loan easily if they have the cheap credit facilities available. The early nationalists also demanded that there should be trade protection. That means the Indian industries should be protected. Otherwise, there will be competition between the industries of England and Indian original or indigenous industries. And without protection, our indigenous industries will not survive, they will not make profit, and they will be loss-making industries, and finally they will shut down. So they wanted the Indian industries should be protected. That means the goods coming from other countries should be highly taxed. They should be more expensive, so that there is discouragement to the imports. The people should not buy imported goods because the imported goods are going to be very, very expensive. Similarly, the early nationalists demanded that the abolition of salt tax. The salt should be free of cost. There should not be any salt tax. Similarly, the abolition of duty on sugar. So these are some of the economic reforms they wanted, so that the benefit will go to the poorest of the poor, the farmers, the Indians. They will enjoy the more economic benefits. So they demanded several economic reforms.